Hi, I'm Jeff Gonzalez, president of Trident Concepts. Today I'm here with Brownells Daily Defense to talk to you about handheld flashlights for EDC. So, at some point we need to have a conversation about when do bad things happen. Well, bad things can happen at all points of the day. However, it is pretty common to see bad things happening in hours of low light or diminished light. There's probably some common sense reasons why. Number one, there's darkness to obscure the criminal activity, so you kind of don't see it coming because they're hiding in the shadows. There's also probably less witnesses out because it's later in the evening. It's not as hustle and bustle as it is during the day. And then we're probably at the tail end of our energy from all the day's activities, so we're probably not paying the best attention. So it does make sense why we might see more activity, more criminal activity at night. The other thing I talk about is that having a good handheld flashlight is probably one of the best utility tools that you can possibly have. It is something that you're going to probably use almost on a daily basis from everything, not just the tactical side of the house, but your general day-to-day activities. Everything from taking the trash out, walking the dog, looking for your car keys, finding your way in a dark building, whatever the case might be, you're probably going to be using these lights a lot more. What I also like is that when you're moving through some areas that can be questionable or suspect and you have a good handheld flashlight, you're telegraphing your direction, true, but you're also telegraphing the intentions that you're paying attention to your surroundings. You're looking into the shadows. You're trying to find the best route to wherever you're going. Dark parking lot and you're all the way on the other end. So that sends a very unique message to anybody that's looking, which is, hey, this person is actually paying attention. This person is illuminating their way. This may not be the best target. So let's start talking about the kind of like the features and the types of lights that we might be looking for. The one thing that I talk to people about is you're going to probably need to find a light that is bright enough to meet your needs. So what is bright? What is the minimum level of brightness that I need for a good handheld light? Well, I will tell people that that's going to be closely tied to your pocketbook. The higher the lumens, the more expensive the light. And I'm not saying that that's a bad thing, but it does factor into a lot of people's budgets. So what I say is that at a minimum, you want to be finding a light that has at least 100 lumens. And if you can find a light with at least 100 lumens, you're probably going to find something in a price point that you can afford. Now, don't think of this as being the only light that you're ever going to buy. You'll probably buy a couple as you start to learn how to use the light, how to carry the light, and you'll figure out that, you know what, I think I'm ready for a different light, or I think I'm ready to invest in a better light, whatever the case might be. But the next part to the brightness is that size becomes very important, because if the light is so big and awkward and difficult to conceal, well, you're probably not going to carry it with you, which defeats the purpose of having the light in the first place. Once you have kind of solved those two riddles, the next thing is going to be battery life. So most of the lights that are out there are going to be working off of batteries. Now, the batteries that we typically see are the lithium batteries. Now, most of these will run off of either two, and some of them will run off of a single lithium battery. Now, they're a powerful battery source, so they help to project that beam and extend the runtime of the light. But now what we're seeing is we're seeing some really neat and useful rechargeable lights. So the rechargeable light wasn't always that good of a product simply because it didn't last that long. And once it started to lose power, it went out quick. Now, there's some companies that have really solved that riddle, and we're seeing these lights with an incredible runtime. When I first was prototyping this light, I charged it up, put it in my pocket, and I think I used it for close to about 7 or 8 months before it actually gave me an indicator that the battery was starting to drain. I feel like that's a pretty good return on my investment. The next thing we talk about is the user interface. How do you turn the light on? And there's really two main types. You've got the tailcap button, which is going to be at the back end of the light. That tailcap button is probably the most common way to actuate the light, turn the light on. It allows you to use it in a reverse grip. So I'm holding the light in this reverse grip and using the tailcap, my thumb, to actuate the tailcap button. So that's valuable in many respects. But another method is going to be an administrative light that's on the body of the light itself. And this button right here allows me to use the light a little bit differently than the reverse grip. So the user interface is going to be dependent on how you intend on using it. Now this light still has a tactical button back here on the tail cap. Technically this is not a tail cap, but it's still in the same location that a tail cap would be. So I get the best of both worlds with that one. One of the things that we talk about is the size had to do with whether or not I was going to carry it. But if I make a decision to carry, how am I going to carry it? Most of the lights that we're seeing these days are coming equipped with some type of clip. And that clip allows you to take the light and actually slide it into your pocket, clipping it to the top so it's easily accessible should you need it. So I like that because it's keeping it right where I want it to be in a consistent manner. So I don't have to go fidgeting deep inside my pocket to try to dig something out. It's always going to be in the same location. That is going to prove valuable when I have to deploy this light quickly. Now, there are other methods. Some of them are allowing you to carry with the bezel pointing down, and then some will allow you to carry it with the bezel facing up. And there's pros and cons to each of these. It really boils down to the training and then the tactical application later down the road. I find the most common method of storage is with the bezel down. Why might that be kind of like the default setting? Well, what we're trying to avoid is what might be referenced as an accidental lighting using my light. So if the bezel is facing up and I bend over and actuate that tail cap button, I could then project a bright light possibly into my face, but more importantly, if it's dark in environment, I've just illuminated myself. So maybe that's a consideration. When you put the bezel down, it might still go off, but if it does, it's at least concealed inside of your pocket, so it's not quite as bright. So when you're looking for your first light, I find that the 100 lumens is a good kind of place to start. That's going to put it at a price point that's going to vary from about $100 to $150. That's going to give you the features such as the tail cap, that's going to give you good extended battery life, and that's going to probably give you the best carry method, which is with the pocket clip. So it might be an investment in the beginning, but it's going to pay off down the road from the amount of time that you actually will be using that light. All right, I'm Jeff Gonzalez. Any questions or comments, please post them down below. Until then, take care and stay safe.